Hello everyone and welcome back to some more StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Terran, and I've heard from the Terran player that apparently this particular match is a bit of a banger. So what is he saying? Haha, your drawings are just as bad as your Terran. Wait, my OBS, or I guess my OBS killed itself again. Thank you, go. Okay, I guess there was a pause. Go, stream cheater, haha, so obvious. Alright. So there's a lot going on actually, because our Protoss is already sending out a probe as well towards the other side of the map. I guess this is gonna be a max specs opener. Alright, fair enough. I gotta introduce these players though. So spawning here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map with the blue SCVs. From the beautiful country of the Netherlands, the greatest country in the world, although, yeah, I might be a little bit biased. We're looking at none other than the Cowboys' main command center, and of course the Cowboy, he is better known under the name of Harstem, one of the highest ranked Protoss players in the world. However, yeah, he's decided apparently to play with his off races a bunch recently, so I know his Terran is actually pretty good. Didn't know though that it was good enough to already go up against the likes of his opponents. Playing here with the Red Protoss probes from the United States of America, we have none other than Olim, which apparently is just Milo backwards. Apparently that's one of his cat's names, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty cute cat name. May have heard that one before, but it's actually none other than MCanning. So MCanning, of course, a streamer. Judging by the way that both of these guys are talking. So PP, another pause here. Any Twitch primers? Nobody says that. Anyways, yeah, judging by the way that they're talking here, I guess both of these guys were streaming at the same time as well. I'll actually go ahead and link their Twitch channels down below in the description of this video. I highly recommend you go ahead and check them out. Anyways, so the Cowboy, he sent me this particular game a few days ago. So I guess this technically counts as a viewer-submitted match. If you have an awesome game of StarCraft, you can submit it to replays at LowkoTV. But I've got a feeling, though, that our Terran player here is in a little bit of trouble. If he goes Reactor right now as well, I think he's going to go Factory. Okay. He's not a Marine, though. Anyways, I think he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. MCanning actually waiting here for a little bit as well until the second Zealot is out, it seems. Or at least he wanted to wait for just a little bit longer. Oh my god, we still haven't started up another Marine. Yeah, I guess he wants to go Reactor. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Anyways, the goal with this build, right? This is the max specs opener. The goal with this particular build is that you go for a couple of units on the other side of the map. And whenever the Terran player doesn't scout it and goes for a CC on the low ground, you can force the cancel. So already now, we see a pylon coming up as well. If you don't respect this, there's gonna be shield batteries very soon, and then it becomes a bit of a disaster. So, there we go. Cancel on the CC, cancel on the pylon. Really good start right here for MCanning. Command Center will start up once again instead of the main base, but you can already see it reflected right here in the supply count. That being said, the Nexus is quite late here as well, though, for MCanning, so... Still, you know, not a game-winning position by any means, but there's no denying that this is a really good start, especially since there's even now 2 Stalkers as a follow-up as well. So MCanning definitely wants to lay down the hurt. Tech lab is done, so eventually the Cyclone will come out, but that Marine there in the back also ended up going down, so we just see continuous poking right here at as many of these units as possible. MCanning, by the way, besides being a streamer, most streamers are pretty bad at the game, right? I mean, look at me. I'm decent, but I'm definitely not at the, you know, I'm not that high of a level. Anyway, I mean, I made it to Grandmaster many times, but it's very different to reach Grandmaster. Like, a lot of people reach out to me and they're like, hey, Lowko, you're in Grandmaster League, right? So when are you going to take on the pro gamers? The difference between Grandmaster League and reaching it and the actual pro level is insane. Anyways, the reason why I bring it up, though, is because MCanning is actually a very strong player. I think he's like 6k MMR or so right now. Something along those lines. Probably like top 25 or so on the North American server. I know he had some good runs as well in DreamHack North America a couple of times. I think he made it to like the round of 16, maybe the round of 8 or so. So he definitely has had some good runs, and he's actually very strong. So it's kind of cool here that... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all, obviously, if Harstem ends up beating MCanning with his Protoss. But to see that apparently his Terran is high enough to take on like a 6k or so. I don't know exactly what MMR he's at, but to see that he can take on some very highly ranked Protoss players on the NA server, it's pretty nice. All right. So the follow-up right here, what do we have? We're going to have a Blink follow-up. Whenever I see this sort of thing, I always think of the Parting opener. I don't really know exactly why. Maybe I've just got Parting in my head. Actually, Parting announced yesterday on Twitter that apparently he's going to be doing his mandatory military service very soon. He wanted to win the GSL, but sadly that dream couldn't come true, and he didn't actually mention, as far as I could see, whether or not he would be coming back afterwards. Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways. So that does mean we're probably not going to see a whole lot of parting moving forward for like close to 2 years or so if he decides to come back. So that kind of sucks. Either way, whenever I see the blink follow up, I always think of parting. I'm not entirely sure. You forget to leave or something? So these guys obviously know each other well. MCanning just being a bit of a jerk. Fair enough. I mean, to be fair, his Nexus was super late. He lost those 2 Zealots as well, and while his start was good, it's not like the Cowboy here is in that horrible of a position either. Hallucinated Phoenix here will scout that the Terran army is moving, and this is a scary army. There's no combat shield, no stimp pack or anything here, obviously, but this is still an army that packs a punch. 3rd siege tank is just gonna roll across as well. Blink is done. Alright. Almost losing that Cyclone there. That's not ideal. Good Blink micro so far. Keeping those weakened units in the back, but I think an Immortal might be very needed. Yeah, an Immortal seems very good. A couple more shield batteries are coming up as well. I can imagine that Harstem feels much more comfortable in Terran versus Protoss than he feels in, like, Terran versus Terran or Terran versus Zerg. At the very least, you know, that's what I experience whenever I play something that's not Zerg. I feel pretty good against the, you know, versus Zerg matchups just because I've played it from the other perspective many times before. So I can imagine that Harstem has done that max specs opener many times before. He's like, you know what? Whenever I'm in this scenario, this is the worst build to go up against. This is what I hate the most. Liberator inside of the main base actually getting a couple of kills. Immortal is out right now. Immortal's obviously very strong when it comes to dealing, especially with siege tanks and armored units. Things like multitasking and all that will obviously carry over very nicely. The anti-F2 siege hub right over there. Oh. I think that's the dead Cyclone. Alright. Is there enough right now, though, for the Protoss player to move through this? Charge is also done, so at the very least that's going to make things a little bit easier. The Zealots right there as well as the Immortal were charging through it and trying to target fire down the siege tanks. 2 tanks, though, in the back do still live. Second Immortal is going to pop very soon, so I think it's about time, yeah, we leave. Alright. So good situation right here for the Protoss player, all things considered. Nice defense there, but it's definitely very easy to lose that. 3rd CC is actually already done, though. Alright. Now, you know what? I'm saying this is a good situation for the Protoss player, but usually, right, with these sort of situations at the pro level, at the tippity top of the skill level, we do see the Protoss out-expending the Terran. And while he's got a nice group of Stalkers out here, it's not like he can really get a whole lot of damage out. I mean, that Observer is very far behind. Glittering Ashes is a super big map. So it's not like he can just capitalize and blink straight into the main base here of the Terran player either. So 3rd Nexus is now quite late. 3rd CC is already done. I'm liking this more and more for Harstem. Alright. Yeah, I don't think you can go into the main base. By the time that Observer finally arrives, I mean, it's so slow. I think you want to send that Immortal back, by the way. Yeah. Don't want to lose the Immortal unnecessarily. Alright. So, 1-1 is starting up right here for the Terran. We're going into the combat shield upgrade right now as well. Stimpack is also coming up here, so nice set of upgrades right here for the Cowboy. And he's going to just be able to transition towards a nice, comfortable mid-game. In the meantime, on the other side of the map, the Robo Bay is done, so this opens up the opportunity here for MCanning to go into Colossi production, but also into Disruptors, of course. So apparently it's going to be a Disruptor right here. Don't mind it whatsoever. Disruptors, of course, are pretty good. And you can leave those Stalkers on the other side of the map, but not sure if you can really get anything done with them here anytime soon. 3rd CC at the very least gets spotted. Look at how much, what's that on the left side? Oh, okay, it's a Raven. Anyways, yeah, the 3rd CT timing here is nice to know, but it's not really like you can really do a whole lot about it. So there's one Disruptor out, and then he decided to transition towards a Colossus, as well as the extended thermal lens. Alright. Raven going all the way towards the other side of the map. He's actually going to hang out over here in between the natural and the 3rd base. When it's not a Stargate opener, this can actually be quite annoying, because you can hang out in that little bit of dead space on this map, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can pop down a little auto turret over there. Auto turret super annoying, actually deals with the probes really quite well. It's an energy-based ability, so you can just kind of drop it down whenever you like. And, well, apparently a Zealot gets killed, a couple probes here and there, a lot of lost mining time. And when you don't open up with that Stargate, it's not like you can just kill that Raven either. Right? Either you, like, put a couple of Stalkers on idle. I mean, if you have to have, like, 4 Stalkers on idle, like 2 over here and 2 over there, and make a shield battery or a photon cannon or whatever, this Raven has already paid for itself. Terran in general doesn't really need a ton of gas at this stage in the game. I mean, after you've started up most of the upgrades, you can kind of afford it. Going for an extra round of Marines instead. I mean, I don't think any Terran player really minds getting some additional Marines out, right? It's kind of what they do. Anyways, Marauders, of course, are still pretty gas heavy, and so are Siege tanks, but there's no denying that getting that one Raven out here is very nice. Just because, well, if you don't respond, right? If you don't respect it at all, you're gonna probably lose a couple probes, or at the very least a lot of lost mining time. Disruptor! Disruptor! Disruptor and Cowboy! My god! Come on, Harstem! Here I am, hyping up your Terran gameplay. To be fair, I see that with pro-level Terran players all the time as well, huh? Maybe it's just expected. Raven going back in once again. Widow Mine over here, burrowed right next to... What? Dude, this is so misplaced. I'm surprised that even got any kills. Okay, so this is not even just 1 square off. This is at least 2 squares off. So, the rectangle right over... Or the square, I guess, has to be in the middle of that nexus. So, the nexus, rather, has to be in the middle of the... Anyways. It's actually very painful. It's gonna cost a lot of mineral income here with probes that just will simply have to travel further. Definitely not ideal. Matter of fact, drop heading towards the bottom right-hand corner of the map. It's full of units. Stalkers, though, are already waiting in this area. Okay. You will see all of those medevacts right now as well. If you're fast, maybe you can still blink underneath it, but now already, okay, he starts unloading. Concussive shells are very scary as well, yep. A lot of these units end up going down. Nicely done there once again by Harstem. That reaction time, right? That's the kind of thing that carries over. Multitasking, reaction time, hotkeying, that sort of thing. Production, upkeep. That sort of thing all carries over very nicely from one race to the next in StarCraft 2. And, well, you can definitely see that he's not lacking any of that. More Disruptors coming up. I don't mind the idea. Disruptors seem to do quite well. This time around, Harstem is seeing it. That's good. Didn't take another ball to the face. Battery overcharge over here, trying to keep these Zealots alive. But, I mean, the Widow Mine's supposed to make short work of those. Alright. This is where Terran can really start picking up the pace, right? This is where you can really start picking up the multitasking. Free Disruptor, it seems. Shield battery goes down. Looks like there's a battle over here as well, though. Okay. These units will probably have to get on out of there, but, well, he's got 1 medevac full of units. Looks like the units over here are mostly cleaned up as well. I think the next Zealot warp-in will probably be enough. 1 more Disruptor, though, gets randomly waddled into that army as well. The multitasking here, getting a little bit ahead of the Protoss. And even though, you know, Terran is losing quite a few units as well, these are not really Terran units that you care about all too much. I mean, sorry to Jimmy and his family, but there's no denying that those Disruptors are units you really want to keep alive. Whereas the Terran army here is, yeah, quite replaceable. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Where are you? You're right there in that plane. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. You maybe want to keep the medevacs alive, but even losing those is not the end of the world. Raven over here just baiting this army here as well. I think that's actually a little bit of an overextension. Probably want to idle it over there in the back instead. Anyways, there's the Fusion Core coming up. Additional barracks are coming up. We see the Dark Shrine now also happening. Look at the travel distance, though. These are so... Oh, my God. This actually hurts. I guess he's got 28 probes, though, to make up that difference, so it's kind of fine. But that just means that the main and the natural are already running low on resources, and he's been overproducing probes. 5th Nexus, though, is coming up right in the center of that little icon there, so at least that's something. 3-3, about halfway done here for the Terran player. +3 armor also now starting up here for Olim. That's good. Big stim. Yep, that Nexus is never going to happen. That Widow Mine also never happened. Ooh, nice storm. Very nice storm right there. Patiently waiting there, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter. At the very least, you know what? Harstem being polite as ever. Yeah. Giving our Protoss player a chance to reposition that Nexus, and this time around it will go down in the circle. Or in the square. That being said, I think there's a little bit of overstimming going on here as well, man. Harstem, did you know you don't have to stim back every single time you select that hotkey group? No, oh my god, the disruptors are being targeted. Yeah, okay. That works really great for Maru and for Clem, but... I don't know about that, man. There were a lot of very low HP Marauders, and I don't think they got, you know, all tickled to death to that low hit point count. I think they probably got stimped like 4 times here. Anyways, there's a huge army on the back of this as well. Good position right there on the Observer. Observer will get spotted, and eventually the Marines will be able to pick it off as well, but... Already this does allow MCanning right now to get into position. There go the ninjas. Looks like he saw the little shimmer though. Ay, 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 ay. Harstem, stop hitting him, dude. He's already dead. He's going for a mass liberator transition. Using the fusion core right now as well for the advanced ballistics upgrade. That's the ranged upgrade for those liberators to make them even more terrifying. And obviously if it's just stalkers to deal with those units, it really is not ideal. A random gateway right here on the left side of the map. Not entirely sure what that is all about. Nexus on the right side will also be cancelled. Storm? Yep, nice. Before the High Templar goes down, he's trying to see if he can even target fire down the Nexus, and he will get it. Ay, ay, ay. Multitasking everywhere. So far, Harstem is mostly just styling on his opponent, making a couple of mistakes here and there, right? But that's just because Terran units are very flimsy like that. He doesn't have that many bases of his own either, but he does have a decent amount of command centers. Wouldn't have minded seeing a 5th by now. I feel like if this would be a Clem game, or for example a Maru game, I would glance back at the minimap, and then all of a sudden there would be a base taken over here, and there would be a planetary fortress on the low ground as well. And you're like, what? How? Huh? How did you make all of that while doing everything else? Anyways, the expansion rate seems a little bit slower, but there are already additional command centers here, so definitely not bad here for our Terran player whatsoever. Another one? Another one what? Did a couple of units get randomly walked in, maybe? Or maybe he, like, wandered into a few Widow Mines here and there. Accidentally hitting the caps lock key as well. I know some pro gamers actually hotkey things to caps lock. Like, I know tab is a very comfortable key to hit. I know shift is very comfortable for me to hit as well. But caps lock? I mean, you can use caps lock at a hotkey, obviously, but then every single time you want to type anything after playing a game of StarCraft, you always have to double check if you're, you know, not shouting at whoever you're chatting with. I don't even know if it counts as shouting if you're using caps lock, actually. I think it's only when you use shift. Anyways, siege up right here on top of a lot of these Protoss units. Concave right here, definitely not great for either of these two guys, as they're both fighting into a choke point. I guess that helps out the Protoss a little bit more, though, because of that splash damage in their army. A random Reaper. Okay, not exactly sure why there's a Reaper right here. Probably just an accidental production unit there. Okay, there should be a second Storm available as well. There it is. High Templar, though, will go down. Battery overcharge after pretty much everything is killed. And I think that might just be another Nexus if he decides to click on it. Yeah, he's gonna try. Okay, he will get it. Nicely done right there by the Cowboy. Now he's got that base coming. Alright. Maybe a little bit too focused on the micro. If I'm being very critical. But honestly, this is looking pretty hot right here for our Terran player. I mean, yeah. Wow. Flirting with death. I mean, it is looking really hot right now for a Terran player, but obviously he hasn't won this game yet, and Protoss is still sitting on 5 bases. Now, I think we've all played games against Protoss with 5 bases. Even taking a 6 Nexus right now as well. When Protoss has that much gas at their disposal, they can start mixing in whatever they like, right? They can go for the big heavy hitters. There's a couple of Dark Templars set up in strategic positions, a few pylons here and there as well. Yeah, this is that moment in the game when Protoss can stop making so many gateway units and start really, well, they can still continue making gateway units as well if they really want to. A couple of SCVs are being donated. Okay. I guess he wants exactly 70? I feel like 80 is fine, to be honest, but fair enough. Maybe he's feeling a little bit guilty after dealing so much damage on the other side of the map that he decides to give some of his opponents, or some of the workers right here, to his opponent. That way he doesn't have to feel so bad about the harassment the entire time. Oh, it brings him down to 69 SC... Okay, never mind. It did bring him down to 69 SCVs right there for a little bit. That was pretty nice. Now he's going to have to make one more worker. Planetaries, though, are difficult to push into here as well for our Protoss player. And honestly, this army really doesn't look that strong. Another random disruptor gets wandered into that Terran force. I mean, I feel like I've seen like half a dozen of those just randomly wandering through the center of the map, being sacrificed. It's actually kind of cool how, like... I mean, I don't want to say sloppy, but like how sloppy these games still are in comparison to like the top level guys. Right? Like I cast a lot of top level games of StarCraft 2, and there's still mistakes being made here at a very high level, right? At like some of the highest, you know, plays on the NA server. It's kind of funny how like the gap still is. Like how big the gap still is between like the rank 25, like for example MCanning, and like the rank 1 or so on the server. It's actually crazy how steep that climb is. Takes a lot of practice. It's not really one thing. It's just that everything is a slight bit better. Anyways, this is a scary attack though. He doesn't really have that much supply here. He doesn't really have that much firepower in his army though. Yeah, so I guess the CC will once again stay alive for a little while longer. Cowboy has also depleted his piggy bank. Still feel like this base should definitely already have been mining for quite some time there. But obviously it's easy for me to say such things while I'm not playing the game and I'm just criticizing it. I'm a true backseat gamer right now. Isn't that actually what casting is, pretty much? Like, if you're a caster, I'm pretty sure that makes you just a professional backseat gamer. It's the same as, you know, when you're in Twitch chat. You can... Anyways, Nexus goes down here. Are we gonna go up that ramp? I mean, you kind of have to take the fight right now. It's a lot of Marauders. Not that much Storm anymore available here for Protoss player, but the High Templar don't really need another Storm because the Terran army is dead anyway. Alright. We're just gonna keep trading army back and forth, which makes this a very awkward scenario. Because soon, these players are gonna run out of money. One invisible boy right over here, blocking a command center. Don't know why the command center doesn't just land. You might be thinking there's like a Widowmine burrow there or something along... Oh, actually, no. That's obviously a Terran. Anyway. Yeah, it's a little bit strange. Sir, it's blocked. It's the same for when there's like a little Zergling burrowed underneath, even though the command centers have little legs. If there would be a burrowed Zergling here, why could the command center not land on... I don't know. My science fiction video game is fake! Can't believe it. Very offended right now. I feel like these Liberators have been a little bit too effective. There's 2 Liberators quite literally denying 2 bases. I think it might be time to add on a Stargate or 2, man. Yeah, I think that time was actually like 3 minutes ago. Right now, we're kind of broke here as Protoss. Disruptor, once again, moving forward. I feel like the win condition that MCanning has created for himself right now is to try and splash his opponent to death. And then just counterattack with a huge army and, you know, hopefully win the game that way. The problem is that as long as Harstem is paying attention, I don't think that's really gonna happen. That CC is flying all the way back. Oh no. We should just send a couple of reinforcements in that direction, but again, easier said than done. It's a very ambitious positioning right there on that forward command center, by the way. Somehow, some way that SCV are laughing in the face of danger. Doesn't really care all too much. Okay, the High Templar right here get morphed into Archons as well. Maybe you can even pick them off. Yeah, not bad. Free Archon. Pretty strong. Anyways, this does force the engagement here. A couple of units do get nipped in the butt right there. Oh my god, that Disruptor almost destroyed everything. Dark Templar from the bottom right-hand corner as well. All army hotkeyed in this direction, it seems. That does mean that the command center can actually now go to that location. Because at the very least, it won't be blocked anymore. A couple more High Templar. Another Disruptor. My god. Man, I've seen so many expensive Protoss units just being wandered in. Disruptor here gets targeted once again. Still though, the Colossus, yeah, packing a punch. 33 kills on that one, actually. So 6 Dark Templar, or 16 Dark Templar, 13 High Templar, 16 Disruptors. I think we might want to go for a couple more Colossi here, MCanning. Probably not a bad idea, anyway. CC, by the way, did finish. That Liberator is still denying... These 2 Liberators are still denying bases! He can't reach them. Like, with Liberator ranged, he actually cannot reach them. I'm pretty sure you might be able to, like, reach it with... maybe a Stalker could just barely... I don't know. That's actually very, very strong. That might actually just make an argument for opening up with a Stargate on this map rather than with Blink. But I guess with the Stargate opener, you probably would have died to the initial, you know, push. Anyways. I feel like it's cheaper to just make a Stargate and make, like, one unit that can kill these Liberators than it is to, like, acquire new bases. I guess he's still mining the gases and stuff, so that's something, but... Anyways. Once again, big fight happening this time around on the left side of the map. New base was just acquired over here. Medevacs loaded up with units. Zipping towards the other side of the map. Scanner right there does reveal that army. Disruptor, okay. Thought the Disruptor right there was a little bit vulnerable once again. Yeah, those Liberators are worth their weight in gold. In glittering ashes. That's how much they're worth. Maybe eventually the engine will overheat because he's quite literally idling above lava. I don't really know exactly what the temperature is. Like, I don't know. 50 meters above lava, but probably pretty hot. Enhanced Shockwaves is coming up here as well, finally, for Harstem. So he's going to be going into the Ghost upgrade. The EMP here is obviously going to be... yeah, it's going to be amazing against pretty much everything that the Protoss player has. Center base, though, has been acquired. Top left-hand corner has also been acquired. Couple of Marauders here added into the mix again. Or, sorry, Immortals once again added into the mix. Alright, that siege tank somehow, some way managed to make it out. These Protoss armies really don't look that big, right? There's the EMP as well. Oh my god, EMP on literally all of the High Templar. EMP is a skill that is available on the Ghost that allows you... oh, well, there you go. It's got a couple more skills as well. That allows you to remove the shields and the energy out of units. And obviously against Protoss in particular, that is pretty good. Archons, pretty much all shields. Obviously the High Templar are really good as well. Disruptors are cooldown based, so you can continuously use those. There it is, guys! A Stargate! It's a Stargate, Lester. Bigger type of Protoss. Yeah, these two libs have been on idle for the better part of 5 minutes now. Maybe more. Maybe like 8. And they've been happily... oh god, alright. Oh, that's a lot of dead SUVs. He's not replacing them, by the way, with more SUVs. He's just replacing them right now with more units instead. That one even did like the spin over there. It's like a fidget spinner. Another Liberator over here denying bases too. These 3 Liberators are incredible. Alright, Stargate is done. Hey look, it's a Void Ray. Pretty helpful. I think that's gonna be good. You kind of want to have a Stargate anyway, right? For like a late game transition if you need it at this point in the game. Anyways, here we go. Terran is moving forward, trying to create a concave over here. EMPs flying left, right, and center. Trying to get some sort of work done. Void Ray, all army hotkeyed here towards the front as well, which is the one position it doesn't need to be. I think the Storms, though, and the Disruptors eventually are going to be enough, maybe. That's what I'm saying at the very least, but I don't know if that's actually true. Those Marauders are still hurting so much. There are a couple of Immortals here in that Protoss army, so they are slowly but surely whittling down this Terran force, and it looks like it will be enough. Did the Void Ray go down? Where'd the Void Ray go? Oh, no, it's over here. Okay. It would actually suck if the Void Ray died here. I don't think this is the game-deciding battle. No. Come on, Mr. Void Ray! There you go. Look, it's on a little trip. Bzzzt. This should have happened 5 minutes ago. This one, man. It will die here. But it's not gonna die without having a legend named after him. Larry the Liberator. A story we will tell our children. That was beautiful. GG, Larry. Not you, though. We don't know what your name is. You don't have a name. I'm sorry. Lenny and Larry? Alright, fine. Hey, look. New mineral fields to mine. The only problem right now is that MCanning doesn't really have a whole lot of probes anymore. He lost quite a few during all of this. 60 probes actually were going down in this game at 54 SCVs. Alright. One Dark Templar. Oh no, yeah, it is a Dark Templar hiding underneath that command center as well. Harstem never tried reacquiring the one in the bottom right, just because he thinks that the Dark Templar is probably still an idle there. I think we need a Nexus over here in this position as well, Mr. Olim. Alright, here we go through that choke point on Glittering Ashes once again. I really don't like this choke point very much. Oh my god, alright. That Disruptor over here getting quite a bit of work done. I was thinking this was going to be an opportunity to roast Harstem continuously. When he sent me this replay, I was like, okay, this is going to be great. But I gotta say, this Terran is actually very good. Not as good as his Protoss, and he obviously knows that, but I feel like if you were to practice it for a couple of months, there's a lot of potential here. Feels like it's there like 90% of the way, right? Obviously the last 10% takes the majority of the work, but I mean, I don't think he's actually switching main races. I think he's just having some fun. Would be a little bit strange anyway to switch from Protoss to Terran in the current patch. Protoss is, Terran's very good as well. Another big stim though. Can you stop stimming? Don't stim, dude. Yeah, now that stim is already run out, so you're gonna have to stim again. Yep, there it is. Disruptor! Oh god, okay, this time around it is dealing a lot of damage. That's because he's also paying attention to this fight in the top left-hand corner. One Dark Templar there trying to be as annoying as possible. These bio units are gonna have to pay for this little push though with their lives. Okay, both players mining the most uncommonly mined bases on this map. We barely ever see these. I've seen a few games where these are mined, but most of the time, yeah, neither of these two bases is acquired. Usually we see players opting for the corners before anything else. Alright. So when I saw that this was a longer game, I actually expected it was going to be a more passive, laid-back game of like Skytles, right? It's what you would imagine whenever you see a longer game featuring a Protoss player, but so far that really hasn't happened yet. Although at this point, I mean, it might be a little bit late, but I wouldn't have minded seeing a transition towards... I mean, for example, Tempest would be really good. Carriers obviously are super powerful as well. There's definitely value in getting those units out. That would trigger a lot of Viking production as well, and therefore less bio units on the ground. Resources lost-wise, Terran has lost slightly more here. I say that, but there's a gas difference as well. Pretty much even, actually. Look at that mighty zealot over here. He's got a tattoo on his forehead. Very nice. Representing the colors that he's part of, I guess. Jimmy over here as well, making sure that this base is not being reacquired once again. And actually, it looks like the Cowboy may very well be thinking about taking that base himself. Could maybe fly the old main base over in that direction, or the old natural. Anyways, fight happening right here in the center of the map. Disruptors are already flying down that high ground as well. Oh, god. You don't want to be blowing up your own units. Obviously, Purification Nova can deal friendly fire. If you're not careful with controlling it. Don't ask me why, I know. Doesn't happen much in pro games, but it does happen regularly in Loco games. Oh my god, alright. Thought initially that fight was horrible for the Protoss, but that storm over there kind of nullified a bunch of it. One Immortal there. Oh my god, well, this again. One Immortal there, trying to deal as much damage as possible. Liberator over here, though. Also being frustrating. Again, and again, and again. Not a whole lot of health, though, on these Terran bio units. You gotta be very careful here. Reinforcements are coming up, and actually the Medivacs right now in a little bit of trouble as well. They were a little bit far forward, so that doesn't mean that the Archons managed to get underneath. Liberator also gets shut down. And actually, MCanning right now is looking mighty strong. This army is gonna be very hard to beat. Luckily, there were some more Medivacs on the production tab as well here for the Cowboy, because without those, I think it would be having a lot of problems. New base acquired here as well in the bottom right. Dark Templar apparently actually scaring away at least some of this Terran layout. Oh man, I really wonder why these bases should have been acquired, right? There have been a couple of additional command centers for quite some time. Obviously, they're giving energy and they're still dropping mules and scans and all that, but slowly but surely, Harstem here is running out of money. Yeah, you can kill 100 workers, but not enough. You can't actually win the game with it. EMPs, once again, though, have been blanketed on top of most of this Protoss army, so really no energy right here for the High Templar anymore. Archon's trying to push through this. Couple of Widow Mines in the back as well. I don't mind that idea. Disruptor trying to get the Purification Nova. One Marine ends up dying, but who cared about Jimmy anyway? Sorry, Jimmy. A Colossus is coming up. Kind of like it. Going back to the basics. We could actually... I accidentally hit my microphone, by the way, right now. I don't know if that was very loud. Maybe not. Anyways, apologies if it was. It's gonna just be Marine Marauder Medevac going up against good old Colossus Stalker, I guess. It's kind of funny how, like, usually the games kind of rise in their complexity as far as the unit compositions go, and then when the economy goes back down... I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because you built those initially with low ecos, but when the ecos go back down, you once again transition back towards slightly lower tier units. Alright, those Colossi are actually going to be very helpful. So that's going to make 3 Colossi. 3 Colossi, yeah, it's helpful to make a couple of Vikings against it, but I don't really know exactly if that's something that Harstem can afford, so he'll probably just go more Marauder heavy, which can backfire pretty hard, especially if it's like an Immortal as a follow-up again, right? Okay. Backing up to the safety of the Planetary. Speaking of Immortals, that's a free one. One Colossus. Oh, careful, careful, careful. Almost wandering to its death. Okay, very good game so far. We're 37 minutes almost into this, and I actually don't know who's winning. I think it's Olim, but I can't be 100% sure. I think it's our Protoss. This is still one bad engagement away, though, from being a Terran win. Speaking of bad engagement, this is really not ideal. If the rest of that Terran army would be located here, then maybe it would be fine. Love the fact that a High Templar was left behind over here as well, though it did get EMP'd. Nicely done right there by Harstem. Planetary on the high ground, though, makes this quite difficult to engage into, and right now, I think this is definitely something that the Terran player can work with. Big Protoss army, though, in the top left-hand corner. 2 Planetaries side by side. Reinforcing Terran units are heading on over in this direction. Reinforcing Protoss units are on the right side of the map. Who's going to get the better hand in these engagements? Looks like the Planetary here on the left will likely end up going down. Disruptor, okay. It's got to be whiffed as well, but at the very least, it's forcing a lot of that attention. Looks like the base in the top left will be destroyed, but so will the one in the bottom right. 2 CCs, though, for just a single Nexus. I think that's a pretty good trade. Although the Terran army can obviously continue fighting as well towards the high ground. Okay, he decides to recall towards that Nexus. Smart move. Taking 2 bases for 1. Seems like a good trade, especially when they're both mining. Nice strategic thinking right there by the Protoss. It's gonna need to land a new CC there, man. Please fly one of these orbitals over there. Hey. He's actually very much so running out of units. We only have... Well, I mean, I say that. There's only 6 workers, but still 86 supply worth of army. 6 SCVs, is that all we have? Yeah, there's just 6 SCVs scattered all around the map. 46 probes, actually. That's not bad whatsoever. Nexus right here on the right side. Once again, reacquired. Beautiful EMP there. Keeping those High Templar low on energy. A secondary EMP even as well. Ghost is going to have to pay for that little move with its life, but... Base is acquired. Mules can continue mining, obviously, so even with a few workers, this Terran eco can still be quite good. Nice targeting here as well with the Disruptors, though. Slowly making this Terran army whittle backwards. There's a Storm going down on top of the Medivacs. Cool move right here. Secondary Storm as a follow-up as well, and a Cowboy actually now caught between a rock and a hard place. There it is. GG is cold, and eventually, it is indeed gonna be MCanning who obtained the victory.